It's Rabbi Jenny. Welcome to the Rabbi Jenny Show. Happy Wednesday. We're really excited here. You're gonna roll with us. We're having a little bit of a technical difficulty, which is kind of a miracle. WWNN has run into our first one in the computer age. So hey, we're kind of lucky. I think it's a miracle with all the stuff that happens on a radio station that this is the first time anything's happened. Our show today is actually really exciting. So I do really want to continue on with it. I want to, what is it, trudge through or go forward?
You have been listening and lighting up your life with Rabbi Jenny.
Yeah,
Join us
we're
next
going to be
week for
going
another
on.
session
It's
of
going to be
love,
kooky
light,
today. I'm not really sure. Okay, I'm on. Okay, so our topic today is really exciting. Our topic today is individuality and holistic health. So we're going to be taking you around the world, actually, to one of my favorite places for our guests today. But our topics are individuality and holistic health. And let me tell you, to seek out holistic health takes individuality. So that's how we're connecting those two topics. But we got to do some housekeeping. I got to remind you, you can listen to the Rabbi Jenny Show on iHeartRadio Live. Just go to WWNN 1470 in Boca Raton, Florida. You can also watch us live at rabbijenny.tv, and you can watch old episodes, stream them down from YouTube. Just type in the Rabbi Jenny Show and you can watch them. This may be a show you want to watch again because the topic is really, really serious. Individuality and holistic health. And it is inspired by my favorite part of the Torah, which is where we are now, listeners. And you can say, hey, Jenny, we listen to you every week, and you say every part of the Torah is your favorite. But guess what? This is it. This is my most favorite part of the whole story, the whole code of what's going on in the scripture. The whole message of Torah can be summarized, I believe, in the story I'm going to tell you about today. It's an exciting story, a little insane, but when you think about our own difficulties in being ourselves, in traveling and separating from maybe the old ideas of others and moving forward into our own self, into our own individuality, this is the story for you. But you know what I forgot? And I can hear you guys chattering in my head. I forgot the two main Rabbi Jenny ideas. And I cannot forget to start the show in this way, because you need to take these two ideas, you need to put them inside your heart, and you need to carry them with you everywhere you go, and you need to say them over and over again. And these two ideas are this, listener. The first one is this: the world is happening for you and not to you. It is happening for you and not to you. And that is all the time. And it is happening for you and not to you because of idea number 2. You are divine source, love, light, energy. You are a part of this whole planet. You're a part of nature. And therefore, you are always expanding and becoming better and becoming more like everything else on this planet. You're always growing and you're always changing. So whatever it is that's happening, you got to reframe it. You got to retell the story. You got to find the jewel, the nugget in that experience, and let it take you to the next phase of your life. And now we're going to go into individuality. We're going to go into our story. So here's where we are in the Torah, folks, okay? Here's where we are. Moses, we know, he took his people out of Egypt, saved them from slavery. It was very exciting. It was pretty bad there in Egypt. I'm bringing Egypt back up again because it comes up. Because Egypt is a representation of the old ways, the old thinking, the old comfortable place that sometimes we are in our life, listeners. Are you hearing me? The old comfortable Egypt. It's really comfortable hauling bricks and building pyramids. But let me tell you, it's pretty comfortable to some people tonight. Because what happens is after being freed, after the seas get parted, and after, like a cloud follows them around the desert, they get bread falling from the sky. They get water out of a rock. Well, I think that happens later. A lot of really miraculous things happen to the Israelites. Like there's a real pile of proof that the world is on their side, that God is with them, that things are good. So in this portion, God instructs Moses to send out scouts to the land that God has promised them. Now, those are the words. God says, send out 12 scouts to inspect the land I have promised you. I have promised it to you. So the scouts go out. There's 12 of them from all the 12 tribes, and the two most famous are Joshua and Caleb. And I'll tell you why. But they go from all the 12 tribes and they go out to this land of milk and honey that God had promised them. And what do they see in this land? They see a lot of big people. They see walls and cities and tribes and stuff. But they also see pomegranates and figs and fertile land and fertile soil. And they come back and Moses says, hey, what'd you find out? What are we going to do about the land that God has promised us? And they all go, ooh, it's too scary. It's too scary. The people are too big. We can't handle it. We cannot handle this at all. Okay? And Joshua and Caleb say, yeah, we can. God promised it. We're not supposed to be afraid. We're supposed to go forward. And you know the funniest thing that happens here, okay, is the people actually say, hey, maybe we should go back to Egypt. Now, I mean, I don't want to laugh, but this is like one of those things in scriptures that makes me laugh. Like maybe we should go, maybe we should go back to Egypt. Maybe we should. It was better there. Let's load it all up. Let's go back to being slaves. It was comfortable there. Now, this is what the show's about, folks, how difficult it is to move forward into a new territory because the old territory of your life or the tribe that you were connected to is comfortable. But see, it's not comfortable. And that's what Torah is always talking about. That's the message. Grow, go. Abraham goes. Joseph goes. Moses goes. That is the message. You have to push forward to the new. You have to have faith and believe in the new and trust. But it is very, very difficult. Robert Frost said in his famous poem, 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. So listeners, where are you struggling in your individuality? Where are you struggling to move forward into the unknown? Where do you know with that little, voice inside of you that this is the direction you go? And yet you're looking around at all these people around you, these doubting Thomases. You're looking around and you're saying, oh, I may have to be alone. I may have to suffer a little if I go out there on my own. Reading an article by Caroline Myss, she wrote Transcending Tribal Mentality, and she talks about this idea of breaking free and going forward on your own. And she says, change is terrifying for many because short-term pain relief must be given up. And if you look at the scripture this week, you look at the Israelites, they didn't want to suffer battle. They didn't want to go forward and fight because that might have caused a little bit of pain, And what happens? Deep healing requires pain. It requires it requires a process of change. I can tell you guys a story today that happened to me at work about this. I sort of have a big job. I don't say it because, I have a big job. But I have like one of those jobs where I have a really big staff and I have a lot of people under me and I have people coming at me like 50 million times a day. And I absolutely love it. But when it first occurred, it was one of the scariest things that happened to me was accepting this job. And today, now I have to tell you, today was a big day. It was a big Torah, Abraham, Joseph, Moses, reach out, do something new, get to the new land, get to Zion kind of day, my folks. Because I'll tell you, I don't like technology, okay? I don't mean I don't like it. It scares the bejesus out of me, okay? It's like I could jump off a cliff. I could jump out of a plane. But learning new things on the computer is like the most painful thing that happens to me. It's so painful. So I take this job and I get all these things happening to me and all these things happening to me. And one of the things we do at my job is we have to put things on the computer and upload forms and figure it out. And I mean, it is really scary for me. Like if anybody knew what's going on in my head, every time I have to go on this computer system and figure something out, it was really, of all the things, hiring people, firing people, and writing curriculum, doing all this stuff. No, nothing like getting on the computer and figuring out how to email a group of people. I know I hope you're laughing in your car because that's really how it's terrifying. I'm not sure what happened to me in another life or I don't know what it is, but it just freaks me out. And maybe it's just the sheer fact that I don't know how to do it, which it could be. But I have to tell you, this challenge, and this is where we're going about individuality. Listen. This challenge of this job, the last thing I expected to happen happened today. And what happened today is I was trying my darndest to figure out how to do this thing on the computer system that I could not figure out. Now, I tried my old way, my tribal way. I tried my old way. Now, I hope you're listening because I am speaking directly to anyone who is listening to my show today because I tried the old ways, and I'm going to tell you the two old ways. The first old way is, I can't do this. I'm so bad at computers. I'm so afraid, and I can't. I'm bad with technology, and I put myself down. That's the first comfortable place. Be a slave to those old ideas, and then get somebody to try to help me. Okay. And then the second thing is get the person who I admire most, who's not afraid of this, to help me, right? But something happened. I was so frustrated. I was in so much pain. I was like, I have to figure this out. I can figure this out. And I did. And I got to tell you, folks, I don't really care. And I hope nobody takes this personal that knows me or works with me, but I don't really care what happens with so many of the things that's going on there. I cannot believe that somehow inside of me, I gathered enough power, I gathered enough of my own self to shift my whole attitude, to move past the fear, to move past that idea that I can't do this, all that stuff I do, to go, you know what, I can figure this out. But what I've learned from this experience, folks, and this is what I want to tell you, is that it takes a little bit of time in that painful place. In that struggle, you have to fight a little bit, okay, folks? You got to fight a little bit. If the butterfly does not fight its way out of the cocoon, the wings don't get strong enough and it will die if you cut it out too early. You have got to fight and not be afraid to express your individuality, to be who you are, to get into your power, to go on the computer. I mean, I feel like singing a hymn about this computer thing that's gone on. It was just unbelievable. So if you're in the middle of a fight, maybe you're in the middle of a fight right now in your life. Maybe you feel like you know where you're going and you know what you're doing. And maybe you feel like that's the way you need to go. And you don't know if you can fight much longer. Well, guess what? I promise you, just fight a little bit harder. Just give it a little bit more energy. Give it a little bit more fight. And when you do, I bet you that's when the light will come on. That's when you go, yes, I can do this. I can do this thing I don't think I can. I don't care if it's balancing the checkbook or going out on a date or just deciding you don't want to be miserable anymore. Hey, guess what? Maybe I don't want to be miserable anymore, but you got to fight with it. You got to fight with it. You got to fight, my friends. You got to fight like we're fighting in this radio studio right now. Oh my goodness, we are fighting because we are rolling along on the Rabbi Jenny Show, and I hope I have motivated you sitting in your car because let me tell you, this cool thing. Here you go. Oh, good. In Vogue is playing. You got to free your mind, my friends. We're talking about individuality and holistic health. We'll be right back from our break with a very exciting guest all the way from Maui. This is Rabbi Jenny. Be you. Have you recently adopted a pet, bought a new home, or opened a new business? Do you have an important anniversary coming up and would like to renew your vows? Have you recently lost a loved one and need some compassion and care through this process? These are some of the many life events that touch our lives. It is at these moments that we need a special person for guidance and compassion and care to officiate and guide us through those moments. Call me, Rabbi Jenny, at 561-346-8207 to guide you and officiate these life events. 561-346-8207. Rabbi Jenny, for personal compassion and care and loving guidance for the important events of your life. The presidential candidates are talking about it. The talk show hosts are talking about it. It's all over the news. Maybe it's time you should start talking about it. Maybe it's time for you to get help. If you or someone you love is suffering from a heroin addiction, Epiphany Resources has the solution for you. Heroin addiction manifests in an apathy and a disinterest in life. At Epiphany Resources, Rabbi Jenny and her acclaimed clinical team reignite and empower their clients to embrace life for a bright future in recovery. With groundbreaking creative and spiritual modalities combined with narrative reframing and cognitive behavioral therapy, the team at Epiphany Resources neutralize the cravings for heroin and reawaken one's desire for joy and life. It's time to talk about it. It's time to heal. It's time to recover from heroin addiction. Contact Epiphany Resources at www.etcfl.com or call 561-777-0241. Epiphany Resources. It's time to begin. The after-school hours between 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. are when millions of children go home alone or are without adult supervision. Statistics have shown that during this time, gang involvement, teenage pregnancy, and drug use begins. For the past 15 years, For the Children, Inc., a place where children come first, has been a pioneer in providing quality after-school programming for underprivileged youth aged 5 to 18 in Palm Beach County. Our children are our future. To ensure their success, they must have equal access to quality educational, personal growth, and leadership tools. For the Children, Inc. provides them all. Donate now to For the Children, Inc. at www.forthechildrenfirst.org.
This public service announcement for the Children, Inc. was brought to you by the law offices of Manjula Kaladini, Esquire, concentrating in immigration law. www.immigrationassociates.net. You have been listening to Rabbi Jenny, who asks, are you ready to bring more light and love and joy into your life? A spiritually uplifting show that will change your world. Call in at 888-565-1470 or email at rabbijenny.com and share your thoughts with Rabbi Jenny. Now, back to our show.
Hey, it's Rabbi Jenny. Happy Wednesday. We are talking about individuality and holistic medicine. And I am so very, very thrilled to introduce our Tom, Dick, or Harry. Maybe not. There we go. Woo!
I'll talk to any Tom or Dick or Harry. Any Tom. Any Dick. Any Harry.
We are on the phone with Dan Brown. Hey, Dan, are you there?
Aloha.
Aloha, my friend. You would not believe what's going on here. I love it. I love it. My guest today, ladies and gentlemen, is Dan Brown from My Aloha Oils. He is a passionate studier of holistic science and holistic medicine. I'm actually we're gonna chat. Are you ready, Dan?
I'm ready. I'm here.
Okay, I'm so excited. Okay, Dan, tell us about your interest in natural solutions and what you do at My Aloha Oils.
Okay, My Aloha Oils, I call it nutritional coaching, which means I don't have to have a license or anything. I'd be able to take all of the synthesize of Western medicine and Eastern medicine and essential oils and mega vitamin therapy and condense it into what's right for each individual. I love that your topic of your show is individuality, because the basic premise of what I do is that each human being is different, and our bodies are biologically different, biochemically different, and the solution to what's going on with us is often in finding the right substance.
Absolutely.
The right vitamin, the right mineral, the right oil, whatever it is to move forward in our lives.
How did you get interested in natural solutions or holistic medicine? How did you get interested in this stuff, Dan?
Well, I was raised by two doctors, so I knew the Western world, regular medicine, allopathic medicine really well growing up. I was supposed to become a doctor, but life sidetracked me, or I sidetracked me. But I'm a recovering alcoholic, and I'm 22 years sober. And I was working with other recovering alcoholics, and I was seeing people who were doing everything right and couldn't get well.
Yes.
They would do everything they could do, and they were dying of depression. They were killing themselves. They couldn't stay sober or clean off drugs and alcohol, no matter what they did. And I came to believe that there was a missing part of the puzzle. And for me, that my theory or my belief is that missing part was the physical aspect. In most 12-step programs and treatment centers, they focus a lot on the mental and the spiritual aspect of the disease of addiction.
Right.
And what I believe is missing nowadays is that the physical aspect, our bodies are different. We've had chemical changes because maybe we were different in the beginning, and then certainly putting drugs and alcohol into our system change our bodies in ways that even when we remove the drugs and the alcohol, our brains still aren't back to normal. And I became interested in that. Again, I lost a sibling to suicide in recovery and she quit addiction, and I have another brother who suffers from mental illness. And I was working with alcoholics who were dying. And so I started digging deep to look for what are possible solutions for that.
I wanted to talk to you about, well, first of all, you mentioned body, mind, and spirit. And when we use this word holistic, I think that's what people are talking about, correct?
That is absolutely it. Is that, if you go to your regular doctor and you walk in and you say, I have a sore foot or I have a sore back, he's going to look, he's going to take an x-ray, an MRI, he's going to give you some pain pills, muscle relaxer, maybe, whatever. But he's not going to look and say, hey, what's going on in your life? Are you feeling overburdened with all the stuff you have to carry? Are you learning spiritual principles to change your life? And so to me, if we ignore any of those three, we can't get true healing.
And I have to tell you, Dan, I'm glad you're on the phone because, I don't really eat a lot of white sugar. And when I was visiting you and your beautiful wife, June Lee, out in Maui, one of the things that I did in Hawaii was I didn't eat any white sugar. I ate all this beautiful, healthy, delicious food. And I felt so great. I came home to my office and there's a lot of candy in my office, like my other coworkers. And I ate candy for like 3 days and I went into a deep, deep depression until I realized, oh my God, I'm eating this sugar. What can you say to that? Because I think that goes to the idea that we sometimes misdiagnose ourselves emotionally when it could simply be like what's in the food and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, part of the holistic approach to healing is to detox our body. And
right.
Eating a bunch of candy and a bunch of junk is the opposite of that. And there's also things for people, again, addicts and alcoholics, which is my specialty kind of sort. It works for everybody, but they're particularly susceptible. Most addicts have poor blood sugar control, either whether it's from the damage they did to their bodies or maybe that was part of why they became addicted. Who knows? I'm not chicken or egg. But there was a large treatment center in Minnesota that tested everybody that came through their doors for treatment, and every single one of them had some sort of blood sugar anomaly. And the worst thing you can do, it's kind of like pouring gasoline on a fire. If their body has a hard time managing blood sugar, you put sugar in their body, first your blood sugar levels go too high, then the insulin pumps in, and then all of a sudden your blood sugar is too low, and your moods are going to swing. You're going to be
absolutely
you're going to crash. You're going to have horrible depression, and so it makes perfect sense that you've noticed that. And again, that is the greatest part of what I try to teach people in the counseling and in the coaching that I do, is to pay attention to your body. If you're paying attention, you'll notice that, oh my gosh, when I eat white bread, I feel like junk the next day, or if I do this, the next day I feel great. Wow, when I have a salad or I don't eat a big dessert at midnight while I'm watching TV, I wake up in the morning and I don't have brain fog.
And it's interesting because
detectives.
Well, and we don't, that you need a coach in this situation. And I actually when I was out there, I actually watched you working with a couple of people that you coach, and you do. I think just like everything else, like going to the gym, like going to for spirituality, this idea of having someone cheer you along because you are really going outside the norm in looking at things this way. I still think that it's new. It's breakthrough science. I want to ask you about this idea about megavitamins. Talk to me about megavitamins.
Well, many people, several times when I first started with this, my my biggest critics are often the spouses of people I'm working with. The people who I work with, if we get it right with a vitamin protocol for someone to make the changes they need to make, the change is very quick, and they know they feel better. But then their spouse will look at all these bottles of vitamins, and they're taking, a handful of 5, 10, 15 vitamins in the morning and 5, 10, 15 at night. And, especially if they have a little bit of scientific education, they're like, oh, you're wasting all this money. You're just going to pee it out. It's, it's not going to save your system, which is kind of what regular doctors have been saying for decades. It's been, I've been, as long as I've been following this. And the idea of that is rejected by finally medicine, believe it or not, we all can figure out that concentration is important. They've actually shown that every human being is different in all of the enzymes in your body. One change of one letter of your DNA makes you different than the person next to you.
Yes.
Someone who might need only 5 milligrams of vitamin B1 a day to survive, you might need 500. Everybody's different. And
if you're working with people who've been out of balance, sometimes we have to, or maybe, maybe years and years of living a certain way caused it to be that way, correct?
Yes, and the story I tell that's really interesting to me is one of the men who I studied under. I attended an organization called Earth Molecular Medicine, has a conference every year in Canada. One of the things that moved me along rapidly on this path. And the founder of that is a man named Abram Hoffer. And coincidentally, my father is a medical doctor, and both of them my father treated the prisoners of war at the Korean War who had been starved for 2 years. When they were released, my father was one of the team that cared for them, and Abram Hoffer cared for the people from the Tan Death March.
Wow. Dan, you want to hang on with me? We're going to go to break. We'll be right back, and we're going to talk more about this when you get back, okay?
Okay, perfect.
All right, Dan, hang on. Hi, it's Rabbi Jenny from The Rabbi Jenny Show. Are you planning a wedding, baby naming, or bar bat mitzvah? Have you recently adopted a pet, bought a new home, or opened a new business? Do you have an important anniversary coming up and would like to renew your vows? Have you recently lost a loved one and need some compassion and care through this process? These are some of the many life events that touch our lives. It is at these moments that we need a special person for guidance and compassion and care to officiate and guide us through those moments. Call me, Rabbi Jenny, at 561-346-8207 to guide you and officiate these life events. 561-346-8207. Rabbi Jenny, for personal compassion and care and loving guidance for the important events of your life. The presidential candidates are talking about it. The talk show hosts are talking about it. It's all over the news. Maybe it's time you should start talking about it. Maybe it's time for you to get help. If you or someone you love is suffering from a heroin addiction, Epiphany Resources has the solution for you. Heroin addiction manifests in an apathy and a disinterest in life. At Epiphany Resources, Rabbi Jenny and her acclaimed clinical team reignite and empower their clients to embrace life for a bright future in recovery. With groundbreaking creative and spiritual modalities combined with narrative reframing and cognitive behavioral therapy, the team at Epiphany Resources neutralize the cravings for heroin and reawaken one's desire for joy and life. It's time to talk about it. It's time to heal. It's time to recover from heroin addiction. Contact Epiphany Resources at www.etcfl.com or call 561-777-0241. Epiphany Resources. It's time to begin. The after-school hours between 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. are when millions of children go home alone or are without adult supervision. Statistics have shown that during this time, gang involvement, teenage pregnancy, and drug use begins. For the past 15 years, For the Children, Inc., a place where children come first, has been a pioneer in providing quality after-school programming for underprivileged youth aged 5 to 18 in Palm Beach County. Our children are our future. To ensure their success, they must have equal access to quality educational, personal growth, and leadership tools. For the Children, Inc. provides them all. Donate now to For the Children, Inc. at www.forthechildrenfirst.org.
This public service announcement for the Children, Inc. was brought to you by the law offices of Manjula Caladini, Esquire, concentrating in immigration law. www.immigrationassociates.net. You have been listening to Rabbi Jenny, who asks, are you ready to bring more light and love and joy into your life? A spiritually uplifting show that will change your world. Call in at 888-565-1470 or email at rabbijenny.com and share your thoughts with Rabbi Jenny. Now, back to our show.
Hey, it's Jenny. We're back and we're talking about holistic health with Dan Brown from My Aloha Oils out in Maui. Hi, Dan. You still there? You still there? No? No? Dan, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, great. I can hear you now. Okay, Dan, so continue telling us that story about the Korean.
Okay, so both my dad and Dr. Hoffer were on teams treating these soldiers who came back from the prisoner of war camp, and they gave them carefully reintroduced nutrition, and they started getting better, and some of them would get completely better, and then some still showed signs of vitamin deficiency. So they gave them, their vitamins were brand new after World War II, and they started giving them B1 and restoring their B vitamins, and most of them got better, like 75%, but there was this subgroup of people that didn't get better. So they raised the dose, thinking at the time dangerously high doses, maybe 10, 20 times what they normally would get. And again, some of them, half of those people got well, but there was still a subgroup that didn't get better until they were giving literally hundreds, sometimes even thousands of what we would call now the recommended daily amount.
Wow.
And then those people, they got well. But even more interesting is the doctors then sent them all home. They were, go home, go back to living your lives. Some of these people immediately got ill again.
Wow.
And they had to stay on those elevated levels of vitamins for the rest of their lives. Their health was restored, but their bodies were never able to absorb nutrients regularly from their food. And
Yes.
that's what I tell people. If this is the solution, oftentimes you may be on these increased doses. Sometimes you don't need to. Often after a year or two of someone getting well and doing much better, we'll lower the doses of the vitamins they're taking and see if we get a relapse. So to me, that's proof of concept that physical changes are happening in the bottom, making people with an induced dependency on elevated levels of vitamins.
I want to ask you about something that I take every day, and maybe you can share it with our listeners. I want to talk about fish oils. Tell us about fish oils. There's been a lot of talk about that, anti-aging benefits, skin, hair benefits. I actually noticed mood benefits for myself. Tell us about fish oils, Dan.
Okay. Well, fish oil is one of the first things that I include. And, the obvious ones is you'll look on the label of fish oil you buy, and it'll say it helps with the heart. They've shown that it helps with the elasticity of the blood vessels. It changes how our blood clots, so we're less likely to have a stroke or a heart attack. Wonderful benefits. It works for joint pain. I've even seen it in some of the people I coach, where it helps people who have lung problems, because fish oil or the essential fatty acids are vital to everything, every membrane in the body. The lining of the nerve cells is made out of basic phospholipids, which half of that molecule is essential fatty acids.
Wow.
Every nerve in your body, the lining of your joints. So all of those things are amazingly important. So we have those things, but the reason I prescribe high doses, there's two things that are in the literature. One is they've used for people with depression and bipolar disorder at high levels of fish oils, 10,000 milligrams a day, which some people would think is insane. It begins to work on the brain, and you can have people who are doing as well as they do on some of the antipsychotics that they use for people with bipolar disorder, carefully done under the care of a physician and a holistic practitioner. You can actually sometimes decrease doses of antipsychotic drugs and substitute that. And then the main use I have for it is they finally proved one of the theories I had 20 years ago about how the brain works, where when we continuously think negative thoughts, I call it the racetrack, where it's very easy to go into these negative thought patterns.
Wait a minute. I want you to, Dan, I'm gonna coach you for a second. I want you to slow down, because I really, really, really think this is so important. I want to hear this theory.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so the theory I had was that when we get these negative thoughts, like whatever, I'm always bad, or this someone they always leave me, or whatever it is that we do, and I think everybody's had an obsession before in their life and understands that there are actual physical changes to the brain when we
Yes.
do that, and that was not known in the science as recently as 10 years, and they finally have proven this, that when you do that, the nerves actually change. The brain, the neurons in the brain actually form more and more little fingers that make it easier and easier to slip into that thought process.
Wow.
And when people are trying to recover from addiction or break away from any obsession,
Mm-hmm.
you can use all the mental tricks you want. You can use all the spiritual tricks you want. But if the brain is kind of locked up and solid, those nerve endings those dendrites can't prune away and go away, which is what happens naturally. When you break an obsession, your brain is actually changing. Most of us have bad diets and don't get enough of the essential fatty acids, and our bodies build these nerve cells with the wrong stuff.
Wow.
By replacing it with the proper building blocks, our brains become more plastic. We're able to change more easily. And so we're supporting all of the other stuff we're doing in our lives to make change possible by allowing our brains to change.
Dan, why
So,
is it important why is it important in this process? Because this is like a whole other show what you just shared. I'm going to have have you come back on to talk about this idea of, thinking and negative thinking affecting you, and then the holistic idea of supporting positive thinking with positive, food and nutrition. Why is it important to have a coach, Dan? Why is it important to have somebody coach you in this change?
So the first part is, for me anyway, in the beginning, it's so hard if you go out. Everybody I ever work with is already on some kind of vitamin, and many people have literally hundreds of dollars worth of things they bought on the latest fad of the month. Whatever's big in the
Right.
news, and we try it. So it's really hard to discern, to learn how to read. One of the things I learned when I was trying to become a doctor was how to read scientific studies, how to access PubMed and see what's real and what's false. So most of us need someone to help us. I have people in my life that I call them BS detectors who keep me from going off on something that's not proven. And then again, you spoke about it, it's having that cheerleader. Change is difficult.
Yes.
And when we try to do it alone, it's close to impossible. And by having somebody who is on our side, is paying particular attention to our gains and our setbacks, who can point out to us that even though we think we haven't changed over the last week, there are things that are changing for the better. We need that cheerleader. And some days I feel like that's the biggest thing I do. It's like, I have people who will call me, and even when they don't reach me on the phone, they'll get my voice on the answering machine and say, I felt better just hearing your voice. And I believe that's one of the best things we can all do for each other, is to be there for each other. And that's one of the things I really focus on in my coaching is I don't coach patients. I have co-learners where I'm learning from them, they're learning from me, and we're doing something together.
How does someone get in touch with you for coaching, Dan?
They can go to my website, which is 808healthsteps.com, or they can call me, which is probably, or text me is the very best, because I often am doing things and I'll miss a phone call. But if they text me at 808-283-6989.
Wonderful. So that's 808 Health Steps?
That is correct.
And then, okay. And what is My Aloha Oils? Is that a separate?
That's a website that I have that is particularly focused on the essential oil aspect of healing. So both of those are useful, but that site is focused almost entirely on using essential oils to make our health better.
And listeners, I have been in Dan's home.
Series of shows.
Yes, I have been in Dan's home. I've been with his family. This is a man who lives this life, and I was really kind of blown away with it. In our last bit of time here, Dan, what is the most important thing you think people need to know or they need to add to their life when it comes to this?
Most important thing I would say, if someone is trying to make a change in their life, is to let other people in and let other people support them, and to keep asking questions. Pay attention. Does this serve me today anymore? And all of us can do that, because for me personally, it's usually negative beliefs now. What are the negative beliefs that are keeping me from achieving what I want? I prepared for this show because I have a fear of public speaking. So
you're doing great.
But I want to be useful. But I want to be useful to my fellows. So that to me is, am I willing to let go of that belief? And hopefully someone out there found something helpful in this, and I would love to talk to anybody and help them get started on that path.
Okay. Well, tell them again one more time, the phone number and the website, Dan Brown.
808healthsteps.com, or text me at 808-283-6989.
Dan, it was so great to talk to you. I hope you'll come on again. Maybe we'll highlight some other elements of your program and some other supplements as we move forward in our friendship. Thank you, Dan.
Okay. Look forward to it, and I will call you soon because I'll be in Miami in September.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. I'm going to be in Maui in about, I think it's 2 weeks from today.
Woo-hoo.
Woo-hoo. Aloha.
Aloha.
Bye-bye, Dan. That was amazing. I wanted to go into this, listeners, before we go to break, how really important it is to get this point across to you that Dan brought up. It really kind of blew me away, is opening up a door for another show. This idea that what you think affects your body, it affects your mind. And if you don't support your body and your mind in healthy ways by who you surround yourself, what you put in your body, what you do to your body, then it will react to those thoughts in a negative way. And that is just groundbreaking. To think of yourself in a whole way, body, mind, and spirit. It is important for us to remember when we do that, that will help us reach out to become the people we want to be. It takes a lot of strength to break free and become your own person, your own individual person, your own self. But it is a lot easier when you're treating all parts of yourself, when you're loving all parts of yourself. You're saying words of kindness to yourself. You're feeding yourself healthy foods that can fuel your spirit. You're surrounding yourself with beautiful people. And you are connecting to something bigger than yourself on a regular basis and recognizing your own divinity and your own energy. I think we're going to go to break now, and we will be right back with the Ridiculous Joy Jar Challenge and the Jenny Jam. This is Rabbi Jenny. We'll be right back. Be you. Hi, it's Rabbi Jenny from the Rabbi Jenny Show. Are you planning a wedding, baby naming, or bar bat mitzvah? Have you recently adopted a pet, bought a new home, or opened a new business? Do you have an important anniversary coming up and would like to renew your vows? Have you recently lost a loved one and need some compassion and care through this process? These are some of the many life events that touch our lives. It is at these moments that we need a special person for guidance and compassion and care to officiate and guide us through those moments. Call me, Rabbi Jenny, at 561-346-8207 to guide you and officiate these life events. 561-346-8207. Rabbi Jenny, for personal compassion and care and loving guidance for the important events of your life.
The presidential candidates are talking about it. The talk show hosts are talking about it. It's all over the news. Maybe it's time you should start talking about it. Maybe it's time for you to get help. If you or someone you love is suffering from a heroin addiction, Epiphany Resources has the solution for you. Heroin addiction manifests in an apathy and a disinterest in life. At Epiphany Resources, Rabbi Jenny and her acclaimed clinical team reignite and empower their clients to embrace life for a bright future in recovery. With groundbreaking creative and spiritual modalities combined with narrative reframing and cognitive behavioral therapy, the team at Epiphany Resources neutralize the cravings for heroin and reawaken one's desire for joy and life. It's time to talk about it. It's time to heal. It's time to recover from heroin addiction. Contact Epiphany Resources at www.etcfl.com or call 561-777-0241. Epiphany Resources. It's time to begin. The after-school hours between 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. are when millions of children go home alone or are without adult supervision. Statistics have shown that during this time, gang involvement, teenage pregnancy, and drug use begins. For the past 15 years, For the Children, Inc., a place where children come first, has been a pioneer in providing quality after-school programming for underprivileged youth aged 5 to 18 in Palm Beach County. Our children are our future. To ensure their success, they must have equal access to quality educational, personal growth, and leadership tools. For the Children, Inc. provides them all. Donate now to For the Children, Inc. at www.forthechildrenfirst.org.
This public service announcement for the Children, Inc. was brought to you by the law offices of Manjula Caladini, Esquire, concentrating in immigration law. www.immigrationassociates.net. You have been listening to Rabbi Jenny, who asks, are you ready to bring more light and love and joy into your life? A spiritually uplifting show that will change your world. Call in at 888-565-1470 or email at rabbijenny.com and share your thoughts with Rabbi Jenny. Now, back to our show.
Hey, it's Rabbi Jenny. Welcome back. I pulled the mic to my face and I am talking. I'm leaning back a little bit. I just love radio. I love the craziness that can happen when you're on the air. It's fabulous. It's fantastic and fabulous. It is time, though, for the Ridiculous Joy Jar Challenge.
Joy, 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 joy. It's Adeline Gobergstein, and it's time for the Rabbi Jenny Ridiculous Joy Jar Challenge.
Hi, this is Rabbi Jenny. Who's on the air?
Hi, Rabbi Jenny. This is Elisa Ehrman.
Hi, Elisa. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I am great. I'm having a lot of fun here today. It's a little wild. It's a little kooky. So tell me, Elisa, do you know...
loving your show.
Oh, I'm so glad. Do you know about the Ridiculous Joy Jar Challenge?
Well, you can fill me in a little bit and just make sure I'll be ready.
Okay. So what I need you to do is name for me 10 things that you are ridiculously joyful about.
Sounds good.
All right, let's hear them, Elisa.
All right, number 10, loving, caring, and fun, friends and family. Number 9, my cat. Number 8, living a healthy lifestyle. Number 7, charity work. Number 6, music, dancing, and other forms of art. Number 5, working as a wellness coach. Number 4, connection. Number 3, giving and receiving love. Number 2, nature. And number 1, God.
Nice. Oh, you were ready, Elisa. You were
ready. I'm ready.
So what would you like to promote today? What do you want to promote today on the show?
I'd like to promote my business, Universal Coaching Services. I'm a registered nurse, certified diabetes educator, and I do health and wellness coaching.
How do people get in touch with you?
So they can find me, reach out to me through my website at www.universalcoachingservices.com.
And tell me a little bit more.
Yeah, so basically I support people with making lifestyle changes, and I help people that are looking for support with healthy weight, diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, stress management, really anything to improve their health.
Wonderful. So give us that website one more time, Elisa.
So it's universalcoachingservices.com, and also you can reach out to me at 561-634-0463.
Awesome. Thank you, Elisa. Thank you for calling the Rabbi Jenny Show.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Have a ridiculously joyful night.
You too. Thank you.
All right. Oh, this is such a fun. I swear I'm just having a party in the studio. I don't know. Just getting a little kooky. It is time for the I want to tell you this quote first of all, because remember we're talking about individuality and holistic health, and believe me, I believe they go together, because I think it takes courage to be yourself. It also takes courage to take care of yourself. Okay? Did you hear that? Takes courage to be yourself, but it takes courage to take care of yourself. Okay. Anyway, so this quote, you got to hear this. It's by Judy Garland. We love Judy Garland. She said, always be a first-rate version of yourself and not a second-rate version of someone else. Amen, Judy Garland. Don't put on a show. Don't pretend to be somebody you're not just to please the people around you. Because guess what? In the end, it's going to be you and you, my friends. It's going to be you and you. And I'm pretty sure that's the only person you're going to answer to that I have proof of at this point. And you want to make sure you can look yourself in the mirror and say, you know what? I knew that I had to make that left turn when everyone else was going right. And right around that left turn was magic. And I went right because I wanted the safety and comfort of things that I was used to. You have to reach out from the old to get to the new. So we're going to do the Jenny Jam. Let's do it.
Yo, yo, yo.
Yo, yo, yo.
Jam. Rabbi Jenny Jam. Jam.
So I'm snapping for the Jenny Jam today. I'm going all natural for the Jenny Jam. I hope you guys can hear it in the car. I don't know why. I'm just feeling a little like snapping to do the Jenny Jam. I actually like this Jenny Jam. I hope I can snap and turn the page at the same time, listeners. I hope you're laughing at this show because it is really, really silly. And, you know, life is silly. Life is a gift. And you got to reach out, people. You got to do it. You got to be you. There's only one you. The proof is in the pudding. The pain is in the past. The power it has saved you. The power it will last. No evidence can shake you. Remember who you are. Believe in all that makes you. The light will take you far. Silly people, get in line. There's no proof, we got more time. Take a chance and make your way. Tomorrow can't be had today. It's a good life. Sunday blues, it's a good life. I got no shoes, it's a good life. Have I got news for you? It's easier to cower, it's easier to wait. It's easier to say that until it is too late. There is no time for doubting, no time for a debate. The milk and honey's flowing, let's put it on your plate. Silly people, get in line. There's no proof, we got more time. Take a chance and make your way. Tomorrow can't be had today. It's a good life. Sunday blues, it's a good life. I got no shoes, it's a good life. Have I got news for you? It's a good life. Sunday blues, it's a good life. I got no shoes, it's a good life. Have I got news for you? Ooh, I like that one a lot, and I got news for you, my folks. I got news for you. I got news, and one more quote. Mark Twain, I always quote Mark Twain. Mark Twain said this: whenever you find yourself on the side of the majority, it is time to reform. Ha! That is so true, because guess what? If everybody's sticking around over here, that means nothing's changing, nothing's growing. There's always got to be that one. And if you read scripture, you know, there's always that one. There's always that one. And it's never like, you know, I was outside just hanging out under a tree and something amazing happened to me. No. You always got to go. The message is always the same. Remember Abraham. You got to go. You got to leave your dad's house. You got to go. You got to take a chance. You got to reach out. You got to follow that heart. You got to follow that mind. You got to follow that soul. You got to follow that thing inside you, right? Inside of you that's telling you go, do, be. Otherwise, you're going to wait another 40 years. And you know what's tragic? In the scripture this week, it wasn't even like that. According to scripture, God got so mad, he just got rid of all of them. When they didn't go to the land of milk and honey, Joshua got to stand, Caleb got to stand, a couple other people got to stand. Everyone else had to go because we miss these opportunities. I can't remember one of my teachers, but she says, you know, the divine likes speed. So when you get that idea, when you get that urging, when you get that pull to move forward with that clear voice, it's clear, but it's quiet. And it says, this is what I got for you. I got this special little gift. It might not look exactly the way you want, but look at all the gifts I've given you before. Look at it. I freed you. I set you free. Look at all the things I give you. You get to breathe. Your heart beats. You cry. You feel. You love. Look at all this. I got one more. It looks a little hard, but keep going. Keep going. And magic will happen. Change will happen. New people, new things will come into your life that you cannot even imagine. You will be like me, Meshuggah and Rabbi Jenny, sitting in an office with all this power and all this stuff and freaking out in front of a computer. And one day you won't anymore. You'll say, I can. You'll say, I can, because you pushed just a little bit further. You sat alone just a little bit longer. Because that's what we're afraid of, folks. We're afraid of being alone. We're afraid if we leave this old world behind that we'll be alone forever. But guess what? You can never be alone, folks. Because besides the divine, besides Hashem, besides God that goes by many different names, you are with you. You are with you. The you that thinks, the you that creates, the you that feels. You're with you. And that is worth getting to know. That person is worth enjoying the company of that person. This is Rabbi Jenny. It has been such a sheer pleasure hanging out with you today. I adore you. You keep shining. You remember that you are the only you. And I want you today, new motto on the Rabbi Jenny Show. Be you. Take care. Talk to you next week.
Listening and lighting up your life with Rabbi Jenny. Join us next week for another session of love, light, and joy as Rabbi Jenny takes life to the next level. Are you ready? Rabbi Jenny says the time is now. The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management,